Back now with the roundtable. EJ, you've got all your notes lined up. I just want to make very clear that you've taken a lot of notes, and Senator Schumer may have advanced something to get this immigration debate back on track. What do you think?
Right. Well, I think he's trying to call the bluff of the Republicans. John Boehner, Paul Ryan, who claim they want to do this, have been saying, but we can't trust Obama. So what he's saying is, okay, the new law will not take effect until after Obama leaves office. And I think John Boehner and Paul Ryan are really on the line here because they've been sending signals privately to all kinds of pro-immigration groups. They really want to do this. They've shown some guts, and now they're in danger of looking gutless by folding at the first signs of pressure. So I think
is that your pressure, Mike Needham, as a conservative lobbyist?
The pro-immigration groups that EJ is actually talking to are big business lobbyists in Washington, D.C. We need a modern immigration system.
And religious
The bill that Chuck Schumer is talking about is a comprehensive bill written by lobbyists that gets into the detail of how many ski instructors will be allowed to come into our system. And so I think the American people are bored of these kind of fights between Republicans and Democrats about how to change the status quo, which is broken on the margins, and instead are looking for big, bold ideas. We're doing
every economist and every college president in the country is saying you've got to fix this, especially for the high-tech jobs.
We do, and that's why the House of Representatives in the 112th Congress passed a bill to expand the number of H-1B visas. We should have a market system that allows people to come in. These fights are about how to change the status quo so that lobbyists are happy.
It's not about who runs the Republican Party. Do the leaders who want to have a long-term future, a presidential national future as a multiracial party, do they run the party, or does Mike run the party? And the truth is, Mike runs the party.
And Mike, for now, Mike, primary filing season.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, it's primary filing season. I completely get if you're a House member on the right who's worried about a primary challenge, having this debate come up in the height of the primary filing season, probably I can understand why that might be not a great time from your perspective. But I think as the lens starts to shift from the midterms to the 2016 race, this is going to become clearer and clearer that this issue has to get resolved because the status quo is just unsustainable.
You cannot have millions of people with no documentation and all of these children as well. I mean, this is just an unsustainable situation.
And everybody agrees with that, and the Republican Party should be able to be strong enough and big enough that we can have a fact-based debate about what the right way to do immigration reform, what the way to do any issue. We're doing a conference tomorrow. It's a conservative reform conference. We'd love to have you there, David. 9 hours of people coming over. Senator Tim Scott talking about school choice reform. Senator Ted Cruz talking about how we can increase access to energy. These are all things that the country needs. These are all things that conservatives have good reform ideas. The problem is that you have a broken status quo in Washington, D.C., where 33,000 lobbyists say we're not going to let anything that's truly bold go forward, because then there's winners and losers. And we prefer the current system where we can pick winners and losers by working with Hillary Clinton.
How are they bold about blocking?
Let me just, so I go to your conference, I'll agree with 90% of the policy proposals. I just don't see the political path for it. I'd like you to explain to me politically and demographically, how does the party survive as a majority party without the immigration?
And how are those lobbyists different from you as a lobbyist?
By showing that the Republican Party is on the side of the overwhelming majority of the American people, 85% of the American people who don't feel heard in Washington. And they're right. We don't have a tax code that's about raising money to fund government.
Latino voters, African American, Asian Americans, how do you reach those people?
And I think that you reach them by, we need to reform our immigration system. We also need to look at other things. There is more student loan debt in this country right now than there is credit card. Mike Lee is a great bill to address.
Let me make that the last word, because it tells you something about what is going to drive the weeks ahead is this immigration debate. Thank you all for a spirited discussion this Sunday morning. Appreciate it very much.